Washington, written by Wayne Summer. Taking the oath as president, George Washington has been a plantation owner, a military officer, and an army general, and now he was about to be inaugurated as the President of the United States. The scene was Federal Hall in New York City. Robert Livingston, the High Judge in New York, stepped toward Washington with a Bible in his hand. Washington placed his hand on it and recited, "I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office as the President of the United States, and will to the best of my ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States." The all-looking crowd cheered enthusiastically. George Washington was now officially the President of the United States of America. Mount Vernon. On February 22, 1732, George Washington was born to Augustine and Mary Washington. By the time he was 3, George and his family lived at Mount Vernon, the plantation in Virginia. The elder Washington died when George was just 11 years old. Luckily for young George, his older half-brother Lawrence looked after him and raised him. George was not particularly well educated and learned more from doing things, especially his daily tasks at Mount Vernon. He learned practical lessons, just how to tend a field crops. By the time George was 20 years old, he was in charge of Mount Vernon. George himself was a farmer, although he saw many enslaved people who labored in his field. George Washington was also interested in the military. The event of the day would provide him with the opportunity to serve. In the 1700s, each of 13 colonies was ruled by the British, and each colony has its own military. Washington served as officer of Virginia militia beginning in 1752. A conflict known as French and Indian War would soon challenge him. Great Britain was said that was threatening the rich in North America. A general sent Washington to talk with them, but eventually the war broke out with the French. 90 people joined the French side, adding to their forces. Washington commanded the Virginia militia on the British side and gained invaluable experience. After having a major battle, Washington retired to Mount Vernon and married a wealthy Virginia widow named Martha Danbridge Curtis. American Revolution. Life in the British colonies in the late 1700s was challenging. Britain has passed a number of laws focusing on the colonies to pay high taxes on goods such as tea and paper. Washington and other colonial leaders were frustrated and decided to make plans to resist. In 1774, delegates from the colonies to attend the secret meeting called the First Continental Congress in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. There, Washington supported a plan to take military action against the British if they continued. The desire for revolution was really rapidly, and in April 1775, colonial armies fired the first shots of the American Revolution. The next month, the delegates held Second Continental Congress, at which Washington and the delegates agreed that it was time to fight. Washington was appointed commander-in-chief of the new Continental Army on July 3, 1775. During his first month as leader, he strengthened his army with more ammunition and won early battles against the British. first major military action was in March 1776 when he drove the British army out of Boston and into New York. The break from Britain began offshore on July 4, 1776, when the Declaration of Independence was signed. That summer, Washington's army suffered a humiliating defeat in Long Island, New York. The British that killed 300 men, captured more than thousands others, and forced Washington to retreat. However, in late 1776, when the enemy came in Trenton, New Jersey, Washington led a surprise attack. In the middle of the pitch-black Christmas night, the Continental Army rode across the Delaware River and won a crucial victory. It was the enemy's turn to retreat all the way back to New York. Another turning point came in 1777 when the colonial forces soundly defeated the British in a series of battles at Saratoga. The city is about 180 miles north of the New York City. The French seeking revenge after losing the 7 Years' War to the British had been keeping an eye on the conflict. They decided to join forces with the colonists. The help of the French could make a key difference in war's outcome. Washington, however, was still being challenged further south. General Hull captured the colonial capital city of Philadelphia on September 26, 1777. Washington and his men had no choice but to retreat to nearby Valley Forge. They endured a cold, harsh winter without enough food or supplies. Some 3,000 of men deserted Washington's army. The colonists' ultimate victory wouldn't come until 1781, when supporting the French army and navy. They surrounded the British at Yorktown, Virginia. The British were compelled to surrender. After their victory, the colonists began setting up a permanent government for the United States. The colonists wanted their new war hero, George Washington, involved in the process. Washington's friend and fellow Virginian James Madison asked him to attend a government meeting with more than other delegates in Philadelphia. At a meeting called the Constitutional Convention, America's founding fathers worked toward creating a plan for the new government. However, they needed someone to lead it. Not surprisingly, they turned to George Washington. Washington did not want to be the nation's first president, but he felt it was high duty to accept the position. In February 1789, Member of Congress unanimously elected Washington. That spring, he traveled from his home in Mount Vernon to New York City, where he took the oath of office of April 30. The first president, President Washington, had a lot to do. After all, no one had ever been president before. It was up to him to send numerous precedents. He set about establishing three branches government: executive, legislative. Washington's presidential style had been formed during his military career. He was not afraid to make a decision and stick to it. In 1792, Washington was elected to a second term as president. The position would be filled with more conflict during the next 4 years. One major conflict Washington faced in his second term was the Whiskey Rebellion. The new government was testing colonial market of whiskey, and people felt that was unfair. and a group of people in Pennsylvania began to revolt. President Washington ordered the state militia calm to the unrest. Also, during Washington's second term as president, another war between Britain and France threatened to break out. Believing that military action should only be used when necessary, Washington did not want the United States to get pulled in the conflict. He was committed to the idea that the United States would remain neutral. It was not well like Washington first in popularity with both public and press. A hero retires, setting a precedent that could remain in place for nearly 150 years. Washington decided to end his presidency after 2 terms. Before he finished, however, he offered some advice to the young nation he loved so much. In his farewell address, ever conscious of military matters, Washington cautioned when making alliances with other nations, since simply such friendship would lead to war. He also warned against forming too large an army might also encourage military conflicts. Most important, Washington felt was the American people to stand united as one nation. People believed to turn Mount Vernon retired. Washington began his retirement in 1797. In late 1799, he became ill with a bad sore throat. On December 14 of that year, Washington died. Father of his country, George Washington's many astounding accomplishments range from superior military career to having found a new nation as the commander of the Continental Army, as he led the United States independence from Britain. As America's first president, he set an example that many presidents since have tried to follow. The nation admired him, described by one congressman at the time as first in war, first in peace, first in heart of his countrymen. George Washington earned the title Father of his country. Historical figures are often boiled down to simple labels. In truth, those figures are very bit as complicated and imperfect as people are today.
Good job. We can try again.